Hello, good morning. You're watching World News on TVP World. I'm Sasha Farbach. More than 45 people have been injured in a mass drone strike on Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv. The local mayor said the late Friday attack hit 12 locations across the city. One of the buildings struck was a high-rise residential block that was engulfed in flames. An 11-year-old child was among the injured. 8 of those hurt are being treated in hospital. In the southern Kherson region, a village resident was killed when a fallen drone detonated as he was trying to carry it away from a house. A new package of sanctions against Russia has been finalized by U.S. officials. However, it still awaits U.S. President Donald Trump's approval before it can be implemented. The proposed package focuses on economic sanctions and includes banking and energy measures. Among others, it targets the Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom, as well as other major players in the natural resources and banking sectors. It remains to be seen whether the package will be approved by the U.S. president. His authorization is necessary for the sanctions to come into effect. These new developments follow Washington and Kyiv finally reaching an agreement on the minerals deal. Ukraine is developing its missile program and working on its military aviation, according to the most recent nightly address of the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
I held a meeting at the Supreme Commander-in-Chief's headquarters, where reports were presented on the supply of our brigades and the staffing of our units. There was also a very detailed discussion about Ukraine's missile program, the development and production of our missiles. The task is to accelerate the creation of Ukrainian ballistic missiles as much as possible. Our long-range capabilities are a clear and effective guarantee of Ukraine's security. Today, I also held a meeting on the development of our military aviation, primarily regarding Ukrainian F-16s, the aircraft that are already in Ukraine, those that will arrive soon, and long-term supplies. We continue to operate in the Kursk and Belgorod regions. Russia continues to refuse a full, long-term ceasefire. Our partners are already tired of these Russian manipulations.
The far-right Alternative for Germany party, now the second largest in the Bundestag, has been officially labeled an extremist entity. Germany's domestic intelligence agency says the AfD poses a threat to democracy and will now be subject to increased surveillance.
Germany's domestic intelligence agency BFV has officially classified the far-right Alternative for Germany party as a proven right-wing extremist organization. The decision to label the party as such means that the AfD is no longer merely under suspicion. The agency now has definitive proof that it is acting in violation of Germany's democratic system.
The assessment is clear and unambiguous. The AfD is to be classified as a confirmed right-wing extremist party because it has proven to pursue efforts against the basis of the free democratic order.
The BFV justified the decision, citing the AfD's underlying philosophy, which devalues entire segments of German society and violates their human dignity.
The AfD represents racist concepts that discriminate against entire population groups. Citizens with a history of migration are treated as second-class Germans. This clearly contradicts the guarantee of human dignity in Article 1 of the Basic Law. This attitude is reflected in racist statements, especially against immigrants and Muslims.
The move will enable the BFV to conduct more thorough surveillance of the party, including by recruiting confidential informants and intercepting communications. In practical terms, however, the party is still able to operate and take part in elections.
But symbolically, I think that is an important and perhaps also for this party problematic step, because now basically the electorate of this party will have to ask themselves, the voters, whether they really want to support an anti-systemic party that wants to destroy the Federal Republic of Germany in its current constitutional order.
AfD co-leaders Alice Weidel and Tino Chrupalla were quick to decry the move as undemocratic and vowed to take legal action.
Today's decision by the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution is a severe blow to German democracy. The AfD will continue to defend itself legally against these defamations that endanger democracy.
The AfD has previously been embroiled in several legal battles. including one where the party's regional leader was found guilty of knowingly using a Nazi slogan in a speech. Despite the continuous controversies, the party has recently celebrated its most successful federal election outcome to date and enjoys the support of prominent right-wing figures, including Elon Musk, who has debated Weidel and appeared at the party's conference.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has taken to social media to criticize Germany after its domestic intelligence service officially labeled the AfD party a confirmed right-wing extremist group. The designation allows German authorities to step up surveillance of the party and its members.
Germany just gave its spy agency new powers to surveil the opposition. That's not democracy, it's tyranny in disguise. What is truly extremist is not the popular AfD, which took second in the recent election, but rather the establishment's deadly open border immigration policies that the AfD opposes. Germany should reverse course.
The United States is revoking Romania's inclusion in the U.S. visa waiver program, less than 4 months after an announcement that it would be added. The admittance of Romania to the scheme was backed by Joe Biden's outgoing administration. Officials said on January 9th that Bucharest had met strict security requirements and would share intelligence on terrorism and serious crimes with the U.S. New rules were due to come into force on March 31st. But in late March, the Department of Homeland Security paused the initiative to conduct a review. The investigation has concluded that Romania's inclusion in the visa waiver scheme should be rescinded to protect border and immigration security. At a ceremony on Friday at the Polish Presidential Palace, Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz announced a new operation to secure the airspace over the Baltic Sea. He said it's an allied mission involving troops from Sweden, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
The Chief of the General Staff, the Commander-in-Chief, the Operations Commander last week implemented a new mission operation related to airspace security, especially over the Baltic Sea. New forces and resources have been deployed in the form of patrol missions, aircraft, helicopters, but also further tasks are being undertaken by a combined staff. One could say the people best prepared. Thank you very much for responding so promptly and preparing this operation. This is our allied action. There are soldiers from the Kingdom of Sweden, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and Northern Ireland. There are also our allies from the United States.
NATO vessels from the alliance's Standing Mine Countermeasures Group 1 have arrived in Helsinki, Finland. The port visit is part of ongoing operations in the Baltic Sea. During their stay, crews will rest, resupply, and carry out ship maintenance. But unfortunately for naval enthusiasts hoping for a closer look, the ships will not be open to the public. The group's mission in the Baltic has 3 objectives: maintaining readiness to respond to emerging crises, monitoring underwater infrastructure, and clearing historical ordnance like sea mines to keep the waters safe for all sailors. The frontrunner in Romania's upcoming presidential election says the country is not under threat from Russia. George Simion, a hard-right candidate and the favorite to win, said his bigger concern is what he called the potential dismantling of NATO.
We are not threatened by Russia. Russia doesn't have the potential to represent a significant and important threat towards the biggest military alliance in the world. This is why the only threat is the potential dismantling of NATO. This is what concerns us. For Romania, for Poland, for the Baltic states, this is a major security threat. We must work on the unity of NATO, and we must keep NATO as a defensive alliance.
TikTok has been fined more than 500 million euros for the transferring of the personal data of European users to China. For years, the video sharing giant claimed it was fully compliant with EU regulations. But now a regulator has ruled the platform violated Europe's strict data protection laws. Our EU correspondent Alex Kadir has the story from Brussels.
Well, this is one of the largest fines ever levied by the Irish data protection watchdog, of course, enforcing European law and GDPR. I want to give you a sense of how serious a breach the Commission thinks it was. As a result of TikTok's failure, they said, the social media giant did not address the potential access by Chinese authorities to personal data of users right here in the European Union, be it here in Brussels or across the bloc. A serious breach denied by TikTok. They say they will appeal the decision, but it raises a very serious questions about whether or not European data, personal European data, is safe on the TikTok platform from being handed over to the Chinese authorities. That is the explanation behind that 530 million euro fine against TikTok, a platform itself under very serious scrutiny at the moment. We know the Romanian elections are coming up. They had to be recalled because of investigations into TikTok looking into 25,000 accounts created ahead of that election promoting one candidate over the other. That prompted the European Commission here to launch an investigation into TikTok as well. A lot of pressure on that social media platform, which it says is being singled out. At the same time, Apple was fined 500 million euros, Meta 200 million euros for breaching a different part of EU legislation, the Digital Markets Act, designed to make sure that those platforms do not become too powerful within the market. So clearly, the EU's mission to protect users from abuses from big social media platforms continues, with this particularly worrying allegation that TikTok shared personal data with the Chinese authorities. In Brussels, Alex Kadir for TVP World.
In the United States, the Trump administration is reportedly planning major workforce cutbacks at the Central Intelligence Agency and other American spy organizations. The Washington Post reports that the CIA will lose 1,200 posts and thousands of other jobs will be cut from other parts of the United States intelligence network. According to people familiar with the plans, the government has informed Congress that the reductions will be spread over several years, will not involve layoffs. The CIA spokesperson would not confirm the report, but said that Agency Director John Ratcliffe is taking action to ensure the CIA meets the national security priorities set forth by the government. Since taking office in January, President Trump's team has gone on a cost-cutting drive that has resulted in the departure of more than 200,000 federal workers. That's all for this edition of World News. We'll be back with more headlines at the top of the hour.